Did anyone else answer this ad on Reddit? Hey Reddit, my name is Matt. I'm kind of new to Reddit, so if this is in the wrong place, I'm really sorry. I'm still getting used to all the different subs. I think that's what they're called, right? The idea of a common topic for each community seems really cool. That's kind of what brings me here. I haven't been sleeping much lately, so I thought I'd post my story here in NoSleep and see if you all had any thoughts or advice. It all started a month or two ago when I lost my job. It was a factory job, and a pretty sweet one at that. I got paid to pick aluminum siding up off one line, check it for defects, and move it to another line. I did that for 10 hours a day and did a pretty good job. The company got bought out, and they told us that robots could do our jobs just as well, and that was that. The company I'd worked at for 10 years just up and laid me off. I got a few weeks worth of pay as severance, so I guess I was okay. Unfortunately, I didn't really have any skills. Siding was the only thing I had ever done, and I wasn't really sure what I would do now. I got on with the job hunt and really tried hard. I thought for sure something would fall into my lap, but it just didn't. I started burning through my meager savings, and pretty soon I was selling possessions to make ends meet. Luckily, I just recently found a new job. It's even in my field of siding. I go out and install on people's houses. It's really not that bad, just kind of rough in the summer. The crew I work with are really great guys, so shooting the shit with them makes up for the not so great pay and really demanding work. That's how I found out about Reddit. Tony and I were talking during a break a few weeks ago, and he told me all about it. Yeah man, it's got all kinds of shit on there. Funny shit, sad shit, interesting shit, it's got all of it. Even naked ladies. Tony isn't a man of many words, but I could see his entire face light up when he talked about it. I figure anything that made Tony light up couldn't be all bad. So I signed up. I'm sure all of you are used to it by now, but Reddit is really overwhelming. There's content everywhere. Baby pandas rolling down hills, candlelight vigils that make you tear up, and something called a poop sock. I don't know what that is, and I'm not sure I want to. Reddit is kind of weird sometimes. Soon after I signed up, it was all I was doing. Every spare minute was filled with Reddit, and I loved it. Well, until I saw that link. It was at the top of the page, and it said volunteers wanted. You'll be compensated fairly. Be your own person. See, my paychecks hadn't arrived yet. I was barely scraping by, and after 2 weeks of eating nothing but ramen, I was sick of it. If there was even a slight chance I could make some extra money, I wanted to take it. The link went to a research group called Gray and Dean Research. There's not a lot of information on their site, but from what I could find, they do some sort of behavior research. I looked around the site for a little bit to try and get a better idea of what it was they did, but the huge sign up button called to me like a moth toward a flame. They said I could be compensated for participating in their research study, and I didn't even need to leave the house. They were vague on the compensation, but I just didn't care. I think the sodium from all that ramen had started to affect my judgment, and I just took the leap and went for it. They didn't even want that much information from me. They wanted my email address, and for me to answer a couple of questions. Do you consent to Gray and Dean Research monitoring you throughout the duration of the experiment? Do you understand that Gray and Dean Research may withhold compensation until a time where the experiment criteria is met? Do you believe that you are your own person and that your actions are your own? Kind of weird questions, I know. You know, in retrospect, I probably wouldn't have agreed to them on any other day. I was just so hungry and poor and tired of being poor. I thought participating in some harmless experiments from home would be worth it if I could change my situation. I also, well, this sounds crazy, so please just hear me out. I felt compelled to. I don't know that I can explain it. I just went to the site and I felt like I needed to do it. Weirder yet, I didn't even really remember submitting it. I just woke up the next day with an email in my inbox. Subject: we're pleased to inform you that you've been accepted into our research study. A username and password has been created for you. Please log in at the following address to start the experiment. We look forward to your participation. Gray and Dean Research Department of Acquisitions. Like I said, I don't really remember submitting the form, but I was a little out of it. I clearly did. Even better than that, I got in. Flashing through my mind were images of me in a hot tub with models, on a private yacht somewhere drinking champagne, never wanting for anything else in life. These little daydreams were a welcome escape from my actual life, and with the money I'd get from the study, maybe I could at least drink beer at a lake. I clicked the link, entered my username and password, and I was in the site. I'm not really sure what I expected, but this definitely wasn't it. I was instructed to focus intently on a movie that they would be playing in my browser. I was to watch it for a minute and then answer a series of questions. I read the instructions and proceeded to the next step. I'm not sure what kind of video this was, but it wasn't like anything I had seen on Reddit before. It was red in the middle with a bunch of static around it. Something about it, though, it made me feel different. As I'm writing this, I'm trying to find the words to explain how it made me feel or why it felt slightly off, but I just can't. All I know is that the video wasn't right, and it made me feel disjointed and like I wasn't myself. Even though every fiber of my being was saying this video was wrong, I watched the whole thing. I still needed the money after all. After a minute, I was directed to the questionnaire, and that's really where things got weird. It wasn't that long, although I don't remember the exact length. Most of it was fairly mundane. Do you consider yourself a good person? Well, yeah, I think so. I clicked yes. Are good people capable of bad things? I guess so. I clicked yes. Are you capable of bad things? I started to get a little uncomfortable now. I had never really thought about what I was capable of. Come to think of it, most of my life had been spent sort of just drifting and being on autopilot. When I really started thinking, though, I suppose I was capable of bad things, but I had no desire to act on them. I clicked yes. Would you hurt someone? This question seemed fairly vague. What did they mean? I played a little bit of football in high school, and I had given out my share of hard hits. It wasn't mean-spirited, though. It was just part of the game. I guess I could hurt someone, though. I clicked yes. Would you kill someone? This strange little questionnaire was making me do more soul-searching than I had done in my entire life. I was perfectly content not thinking about how far I'd go in unfortunate or desperate situations. I had to answer, though, and when I really thought about it, I clicked yes. Would you kill someone? I just answered that. I was starting to get a little bit freaked out now. I clicked no. You are your own person. That's not even a question. Of course I'm my own person. The strange thing about this one was that there weren't multiple choices, just a yes box, so that's what I clicked. After I had completed all the questions, I glanced up at the clock and realized 2 hours had passed. Man, it was already 11 p.m. Where did the time go? I could have sworn that I started just 10 or 15 minutes ago. Also, when did I get such a splitting headache? I decided to take a nice hot shower and retire for the evening to get some much-needed sleep. Honestly, though, I don't think I slept at all that night. I just laid awake in bed and tried to let my exhausted body rest, but my mind wasn't having it. A constant stream of intrusive thoughts kept me awake. Would I kill someone? Do I want to kill someone? Am I my own person? The disjointed thoughts kept racing through my head. I desperately wanted them to stop, but they just wouldn't. So I did something drastic. Something I try not to do. Something bad. I smoked some weed. I know what you're thinking. Matt, you're working at a construction job and using tools that could hurt people. Why are you doing drugs the night before you have to work? Well, I used weed pretty heavily when I was younger, and besides giving me a terminal case of the munchies, it typically helped my headaches and always helped lull me to sleep. I figure half a joint might do the trick tonight and allow me to actually fall asleep instead of just laying in bed awake and miserable. I had just lit it and taken a big puff when my cell phone lit up the night and startled me with its tinny rendition of Biz Markie's Just a Friend. You got what I need, but you say he's just a friend, but you say he's just a friend. Oh, baby. I picked up. Hello. I waited for a few moments, but there was nothing but the faint whispers of static on the other end, and then a robotic voice saying words I didn't understand the meaning of. Then there was nothing. Just like that part of my life had been erased, and I was here in the present. I was in my living room. My phone was nowhere to be seen. The light was pouring in from my window and illuminating my entire apartment. My mind started racing with anxious thoughts and panic. Oh God, when did the sun come out? What time is it? I'm late to work. Why does my head hurt so much? Where's my phone? Oh God, I'm really late to work. Waking up late is the worst feeling in the world typically, but today, the splitting pain in my head was giving a good run for its money. I trudged to the bedroom with squinting eyes trying to block out the sunlight coming in from the windows to give my head some relief from the pain. My phone was lying on the floor, and it said I had missed 7 calls. Shit. I texted my boss and told him that I'd been up all night sick and lost track of time. I told him I'd stay home today and be in tomorrow. He seemed to accept that, and I felt the smallest bit of my anxiety abated. I sat down on the bed and put the phone on the nightstand. My head was still splitting, and I just wanted it to stop. I put my head in my hands and felt my eyes welling up with tears of frustration and pain. And that's when I noticed it. Dirt on my palms and under my fingernails. Where did it come from? I had taken a shower before bed, and it definitely wasn't there last night. I don't remember weed doing this to me before. Maybe it's gotten stronger? You know, they talk about that on the news all the time. I pushed my confusion out of my thoughts for the time being. My brain couldn't handle it right now. I was confused and scared, but the pain center was overriding all logical thought. All I could do was lay down and try to sleep. I don't feel like I actually want to sleep, but then again, I don't really remember. I think I must have, though. I remember dreaming about running through a field, chasing something, maybe someone. I don't know why I'm chasing it or why it's running from me. I just know I need to catch it. Somehow during the chase, it falls, and I fall on top of it. There's a struggle. I hit it. I feel nothing. So that's where I am now, Reddit. It's been another day since I missed work, and the headache is starting to subside, but I still feel a bit out of sorts. I really just want to get back to sleeping regularly and feeling like myself again, but I'm not sure how. Do you have any advice? I don't like how I feel. I don't feel like I'm my own person. First of all, I just wanted to thank all of you for your input and advice. I really didn't expect this kind of attention from posting my experience, but it seems like quite a few of you were really interested. It's been an interesting couple of days, so I haven't been able to read all the comments, only a few. I wanted to clear up a few things that I saw while skimming the comments, though. Although people seem to believe my experience so far, a lot of people don't think I'm new to Reddit. I wish I had a bit more experience with it, honestly, but the moderators here have been very helpful so far. I don't work for Gray and Dean Research, and I don't think they are selling my information. I haven't gotten any other spam emails or phone calls, so I think it's safe to rule that out. I don't have a Twitter, so the Twitter account that you all found with my name isn't me. I haven't gotten paid yet, but I hope that's coming soon. Things have been going pretty well here. I can't complain too much. Although even as I write that, I realize it's a lie. It's just something people say, even when things aren't going well. Let me try that again. Things aren't going well for me, Reddit, and I think they're getting worse. After I posted my last post, things were looking up for a little while. My headache started to fade into a dull roar, and I was back at work bullshitting with Tony the next day. Hey Matt, what do you make of all this monkey talk on Reddit? People keep talking about taking their dicks out for that monkey that got shot at the zoo, but I don't see how that's going to help fuck all. Listening to Tony talk about that monkey from the zoo made for a welcome distraction from all that weirdness last week. You know, all that stuff with the dreams and lost time didn't even feel real. I tried my best not to think about it and just concentrate on doing a good job at work and hopefully getting paid soon. Unfortunately, when I talked to the boss about getting paid, he told me that the first check always took a little while, and I was probably at least 2 weeks away from seeing a dime. I left work kind of dejected, and a research study entered into my mind on the way home. I knew they mentioned compensation, but I hadn't seen a dime yet. I figured I'd follow up on it later and see if maybe they forgot to send a check. That evening when I was back in my apartment enjoying another excellent cup of ramen, while wishing it was Chipotle, my phone chirped. I had a new email. Subject: we'd first like to thank you for participating in our research study. Your experience and input will be immeasurably helpful in our research. We'd like to remind you that in order for you to be eligible for compensation, you must complete both experiments on our secure subject portal. Failure to complete both may result in disqualification. Gray and Dean Research Department of Acquisitions. Honestly, I didn't even really debate internally on if I should drop out or not. After all that weirdness last time with the headache and the missing time, I was certainly more than a little sketched out. The truth of the matter was, though, I needed that money. I clicked the link in the email, and right away, I was back at the secure subject portal. I don't know if any of you have signed up, but there's something weird about that video. I dismissed it before, but after I watched it the second time, I was sure that there's something more to it. Maybe some technical people on Reddit can explain more about how it works. How do they get it to look like sparks are coming out of the screen? That's a really strange effect. After the video, it was back to the weird questions. Have you ever been scared? Well, of course. Does everyone? I clicked yes. Have you ever been really scared? I thought about it for a second, and my mind went back to being a kid and playing around with Todd in the ditch behind my house. I was sure he would make that jump, but when he didn't, I was scared. When he was laying at the bottom of the ditch and not moving, I was really scared. He turned out fine, just a couple of broken bones. I clicked yes. Are you scared right now? It's the oddest thing. I wasn't until I read this question. Every fiber of my being was suddenly screaming at me, yelling at me to jump to action, yelling at me to do something to get myself out of the situation. I had struggled with anxiety throughout my life, and that's the thing with it. Your body tells you that you're scared and tells you to run, but you don't know why you're running. I pushed the feeling down and clicked no. Machismo, I guess. You should be. Every single hair on my body stood up at once, and those voices telling me to run got even harder to push down. What kind of joke was this? Was this some bored scientist's way of being funny? I might have found humor in it before, but sitting alone in my apartment at night had me more freaked out than chuckling. I submitted the form and closed the laptop lid. I didn't want to deal with that anymore. My head had started to hurt again, so I made my way to the bedroom to try once more to get some sleep. I guess I hadn't mentioned it yet, but I've still been having a really hard time sleeping. I lay in bed and close my eyes, but I don't feel like I'm sleeping. Stranger yet, I feel like I'm dreaming. How can you dream if you're not sleeping? You might be asking yourself. I don't know, but it's the same dream every night. I'm somewhere foreign, no idea of how I got there. Someone is whispering in my ear, but there's no one there. I don't even bother looking to see where the voice is coming from because I don't care. I can't hear the words, but I understand what they want. They want me to get it. I don't even know what IT is, but I start running at full speed trying to catch it. It's pitch dark, and I can't see anything except silhouettes moving in the dark. I hear nothing except the labored breath of it as I gain ground. As I get close, I lunge at it and tackle it to the ground. My target lets out a groan as I make impact with it. I hit it over and over, but feel nothing. I gasp and open my eyes to find that it's morning, but I don't feel like I've slept even a minute. Rubbing my eyes, I try to get the will to get out of bed and get dressed. Thank God for Monster Energy. I don't think I'd be able to go to work without it. It doesn't really help the headaches, but then again, nothing really does. As I go about my morning routine, I catch my reflection in the mirror. Man, I look like shit these days. Once I get to work, I can kind of get in the zone. It's really not that different from my other job. Pick up this piece, put it over here. Ironically enough, even though it's physically difficult, it calms my mind and makes me forget about the problems in my life. My phone starts playing the familiar rendition of Just a Friend, and I start walking away from the job site so I can hear the other person. I answer it and say, "Hello. Hello. This is a message from Gray and Dean Research. If you're expecting this call, please stay on the line. Otherwise, hang up." I debate if I should hang up the phone right now. I'm at work after all, and if I thought money was tight before, it would be a lot tighter without a job. I figure it won't be that long though, so I stayed on the line. It was the same weird static and robotic voice, I think. I mean, I don't really remember. I think it was spelling something out or asking me a question of some sort. That brings us to today, Reddit. I'm in a motel about 150 miles away, and I have no idea how I got here. My truck is outside, but I sure don't remember driving here. I've got 24 missed calls on my phone and 7 voicemails. I haven't listened to them yet, but I doubt they're good. I'm starting to get really scared now. It's not like me to lose track of time like this. I'm wondering if maybe I hit my head or something. Would that explain the missing time? The internet seems to think so. Maybe it's CO poisoning. I remember Tony telling me about a story like that not too long ago. Yeah, man, dude was leaving notes for himself when he was all fucked up on that CO2 gas. Shit was wild, man. I guess either of those would explain the headaches and the missing time. What I'm really having a hard time with, though, is the clothes. I'm wearing new ones, and mine are in the bathtub. It's not that my clothes in the bathtub that worries me. It's that they are covered in blood. I know I can't remember what happened to me these last few days, but I checked myself, and I hope with all my heart it's not so. But I don't think it's my blood. Please help me, Reddit. I don't know what's going on, but I'm terrified. I've never felt less like my own person. It's been a crazy couple of days, Reddit. When I woke up in the hotel room and wrote my post, I was really freaked. I'm still freaked, but I think I'm starting to understand what's going on. Unfortunately, I sound like I'm crazy, and I'm even more scared than I was. Let me explain. I went to the bathtub to look at the clothes again, just to make sure I had seen what I thought I had. They were definitely my clothes, and that was definitely blood. I've had chronic bloody noses since I was a kid, and I've ruined more than a few pillowcases in the night. There wasn't a doubt in my mind what this was. I'm sure you're thinking, Matt, if you bleed in the night, is it so crazy that you ruined some clothes and put them in the bathtub? No, it's really not that crazy in theory. The problem is how much blood there is. It seems like all my clothes are covered. I filled the bathtub with cold water, a trick my mother had taught me, and let my clothes soak while I dealt with my phone. 24 missed calls and 7 voicemails. Hey Matt, this is Tony from work. You were acting all kinds of strange yesterday when you left. Did I do something to piss you the fuck off? Be easy, brother. Let me know you're okay. I pressed delete. Matt, this is Bobby from work. You left mid-shift yesterday, and you've late for your shift today. I know you've been sick, but you gotta come to work, man. Shit, I say out loud in response to the message. Bobby was a great boss, and when I lost time and didn't show up the first time, he was understanding, but I suspected his patience had its limits. I pressed delete. Matt, you know I hate to do it, but I gotta let you go, man. If you get your shit together, give me a call, and we'll talk about coming back. Great. Not only am I God knows where, but I'm jobless and have blood-soaked clothes in the tub. If this wasn't me, I think it was hilarious, but in this very moment, I felt the weight of the world crushing my chest, and it felt like my head was competing to see who could give me the most pain. I wasn't sure who was winning. I skimmed through the rest of the voicemails and missed calls and deleted them all. It just didn't seem to matter. I figured I'd at least call back Tony and see if I could piece together what happened. I scrolled through my recent calls and tapped his name to dial him. Jesus fuck dude, you're alive, he said, sounding relieved. Yeah man, at least for now, I replied, cringing from the effort talking on the phone required. Hey, this is going to sound weird, but what happened yesterday? Man, you don't remember? We were working and you picked up your phone to answer it. You walked away a little bit to take the call, and then after a few seconds, you turned around and started walking straight to your truck. You had this fucking deer in the headlights look about you. When I asked what was up, you shoulder checked me hard enough to knock me down. That's not cool, dude. I did all that. I never hit Tony. For one, he was the closest thing I had to a real friend, and secondly, he's a big dude. Now, he's telling me I knocked him down? Tony, I'm so sorry. I haven't been myself lately. Ever since that research study I signed up for online, I've been feeling less and less like my own person. You gotta get some help, man. Losing time like this ain't healthy. I don't think I'd blame some weird website on it either, man. I signed up for that site you were talking about the other day, and it was weird, but it didn't make me into some kind of disappearing weirdo. Just get your shit together and call me if you need anything. He said, somewhat frustrating at me, trying to pass blame on some website. Oh, well, Tony, I said, and then hung up the phone. What the hell was going on here? I was in pain and confused, but I tried to push that out of my mind because it was time to get some answers. I collected myself for a minute and put together a game plan. First, deal with those fucking clothes. Second, head home and get some rest. Third, figure out what the hell is going on with me. I went back in the bathroom, wrung out the somewhat less bloody clothes, and wrapped them in a hotel towel. People steal these things all the time. I'm sure they won't miss one, I said out loud. Partially to alleviate the guilt my uncharacteristic petty theft made me feel, and probably also to put out my mind that I was trying to get rid of bloody clothes. I couldn't think about that right now. I needed to get home and figure out what's going on. I took my soggy bundle of clothes to my truck and hopped in. I opened up Google Maps and saw that I was a little over 2 hours away from my apartment. I turned on the truck and started to drive. Now, I don't know if it's just me or not, but I've always felt at peace on the open road. Something about it calms and centers me. I started to think about my predicament. Everything was going pretty well until this research study. But how does a website make me lose time? It didn't make any sense. I didn't even spend that much time on the site. I just watched the weird video, answered some questions, gave them my phone number, and got the call. The calls. That was it. Both times I've lost time lately. It was directly after the work phone call. What did it even say? It spelled something out and asked me if I was open? No, that can't be right. Time had slipped away from me a little bit because before I knew it, I was pulling into my apartment's parking lot. By habit alone, I got out of my truck, locked the doors, and walked to my mailbox to check it. Bills, 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 spam, bills, a postcard, spam, bills. The postcard was odd. I looked at it and saw that it was from Gray and Dean Research. Did I even give them my address? Geez, I must have. With all this missing time, I definitely couldn't rule that out. I looked at it closer. It was fairly plain on the front, except for a picture of two smiling older men in lab coats. On the back, it said the following: Gray and Dean want to congratulate you for your performance in Phase 2 of our research study. Not everyone is cut out for the type of research we do, but you're one of the special chosen few. We will be making contact with you in the next couple of days. It's vitally important to keep this postcard on your person at all times. You will not be eligible for compensation if you do not. Thank you. We'll see you soon. I felt a small weight be lifted as I realized I'd finally be getting compensated. I can't say that all this hassle and headaches, literally and figuratively, was worth it, but at least I was almost done. I folded the card in half and put it in my back pocket. I walked up the stairs with the last bit of energy I had left, went straight to my bed, and fell down into it. It was comfortable, but every time I tried to clear my mind, my brain kept me awake with questions. What have you been doing with the lost time? Where did all that blood come from? Am I my own person? After realizing that sleep wasn't going to come for me, I opened my eyes and resolved to find answers. That's when I booted up the computer, went to Reddit, and started to type out this post so I could get a clear picture of what happened so far. That brings me to now. Have you ever Googled Gray and Dean Research? I'm sure some of you have, but I hadn't until right now. Nothing comes up. I mean, sure, there are people named Gray or Dean, but none of them have a research institute together. I went back to their website to look to see if I missed anything the first time around. They claim to be based in New Mexico, but they don't list an address. Maybe the phone number has some clues? I decide to call it and see if anyone answers. Gray and Dean Research is not accepting calls at this time. Thank you. Well, it's a dead end. Do you have any thoughts on what's going on Reddit? Whoa, talk about timing. I just got an email from them. Here's what it says. Subject: your compensation is on its way. As a reminder, if you don't have your postcard on you, you won't be eligible for compensation. You've come this far. Make sure you get what you have coming to you. Gray and Dean Research Department of Acquisitions. Well, at least that's good. Although I still don't know what I need a postcard to get check in the mail. Does that seem strand? Hey Reddit, Matt here again. I figured something out. Explanations for what's been going on. Last time I wrote, some weird stuff was going on. Probably had everyone really scared. Man, that's nice of you guys to care. Except that it's really not that big of a deal. Got put on meds a few months back, which affect my memory. Didn't remember to mention it until now. Real silly Matt. Entire time, it was just the drugs messing with my head and making me think silly things that aren't true. So my doctors have decided I should keep taking the medicine, but in a more controlled place. Except I need to go away somewhere so they can watch me. A nice place with lots of nice doctors. Really will be good to have so many people helping me. Caring people always make me feel better. Have a good time and be your own person. I know I will.